What's going on, everyone? I am excited for today's video. We get to go back to the very first video I ever made on the channel and play some LEIA Red Target Town today. My goodness, is this a throwback? And to be honest, I think the last time I did a LEIA Red video for the channel was before we had set 4 or maybe even set 3, and it's nice to be back. Now, there's a lot of fun things going on. Before we dive into this, I want to say a big thank you to my patrons over on Patreon. Looks like we're going to be able to start a new tournament here this weekend, get back on the regular schedule, and I'm excited about that for all of us participating. So thank you so much for supporting. But today, we've got OG LEIA Red. What are we doing with LEIA? We are going all in on rebels. There are a lot of rebels in the game now, and to be honest, a lot of them are just innately powerful. Things like Sabine Wren or Blue Leader or even Fleet Lieutenant, just absolutely incredible. So every single unit in our deck is a rebel unit, really trying to take advantage of LEIA's action. And then we are able to play some events that are just also very incredible. Medal Ceremony hasn't really been played in a long time. My goodness, if you guys remember back in the day when Sabine would be playing Medal Ceremony in her list, that was an incredible time. Hasn't really been played all that often because now you have like Podamrins and Wreckers. Well, no longer. Not today. We've got Rebel Assault, being able to attack with multiple rebel units and pump them up for that attack. We've got, the new Blue Leader as a new rebel that we have not been able to play with in the past. Even Cham Syndulla is relatively new here that we're going to be able to slot in the deck, as well as Chewbacca for our LEIA. Because our unit in the deck is a rebel, I figured we'd play a couple copies of General Dodonna to try to take advantage of that in some circumstances. In terms of new set 5 cards, there's really only one to mention, and that is Yoda's lightsaber. It's going to work pretty well with LEIA, just like it does with Sabine, getting a nice little pump effect. Outside of that, we've got direct damage and daring raid for a cause. We've got things from the Smuggle Play like Cassian. We've got a bunch of rebels to play, and we're going to see if we can beat down some players today. I don't know if this is going to work all that well. To be honest, I'm expecting to get kind of destroyed in some of these games. But at the same token, it's an aggressive deck, and I think we could do some work against some other lists out there. So without further ado, let's dive into our first game. Get to dive in game number 1 with Mother Talzin, which is going to be an interesting one. I do like my hand. However, Wing Leader is pretty weak up against my opponent. I'm going to resource the Wing Leader. I don't really particularly want to be playing into that. We're just going to go Sabine Wren on turn 1, and we're going to see what my opponent has. Sabine Wren, obviously, it works amazingly up against things like Secretive Sage, which my opponent could very well have. I'm just going to claim initiative here, and I think what I'll be doing is just taking out the Karis here. I can go Fleet Lieutenant to hit the base for 1 and then, kill off the Karis. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. Boom, take out Karis, and then we'll see what my opponent's got. They're conceding. Fantastic. It's over. They probably have a bunch of events in their hand, and now they're conceding. Well, you know what? Sometimes LEIA is just broken like that. It's just broken like that, okay? When you bring back the classic, it's just immediate concede. Boom, Fleet Lieutenant, GG. All right, nice. Honestly, it just happens. It just so happens that we get to go like game number 1 into honestly a pretty tough matchup, into game number 2, another pretty tough matchup. I'm going to keep this hand. I like it quite a bit. I'm going to resource one of the A-Wings and one of the Fleet Lieutenants, and I'm going to go A-Wing on turn 1. I don't really care if they play a unit, kill my thing, use Tarkin Town. It is what it is. They're going to use Tarkin Town at some point. It's going to be good against us. So any which way for my opponent to, kind of get rid of or get rid of their resources, I just have to kind of, play out my cards. Let's go ahead and claim initiative. Let's see if they Tarkin Town. Honestly, Wing Leader's a pretty bad draw here, so we'll see what they decide to do. They are going to use Tarkin Town. We draw a Battlefield Marine and a Yoda's lightsaber. I think I'll resource maybe one of the key 2s now, and we're just going to drop a Battlefield Marine. My opponent could absolutely dominate us this game. it is what it is. Cad Bane Target Town was always a very, very tricky matchup for these sort of like synergistic, play, try to get some value here type decks. And that's exactly what we're playing today. So we will see what they've got. They have, now there are two of them Zuckuss. Wow. Okay. I mean, they got, now there are two of them Zuckuss. It is what it is. That's going to be tough to beat. It's going to be tough to beat. Can't really say much about it. General Dodonna, I mean, it could be okay. I'm kind of leaning towards just K2SO this turn, and we're going to have to race my opponent. Wow, now there are two of them was a pretty nasty play for sure. Now, the nice thing about this is my opponent is going to be, probably playing a unit, hit my Battlefield Marine. Oh, they're just going to race me. Okay. I think it's kind of tough for them to race me, to be honest. I'm feeling pretty confident about being able to race my opponent here. Let's just go ahead and claim initiative and see what they are going to be dropping in. Ooh, Metal Ceremony looks pretty good. I mean, I like my chances in the game. I do like my chances. I think what I will do is just, I mean, I could go 3 damage to base, knockout, or a single. I can go all into their base. I think the game plan here is to race them. It's not going to take all that many actions. I'm going to be able to use LEIA action to knock in some damage here. Just get in for 7. And then I will have the first action on the next turn, most likely, if my opponent attacks with all their units here. So I do like that position. I'm going to deploy LEIA here. And we'll see what my opponent does. Metal Ceremony looks pretty good here. I am pretty excited about Metal Ceremony because they could rely on Zuckuss here. And if they do, I'm pretty happy about that. Okay, they're going to try to take out my LEIA. So we're just going to go experience token on Miss LEIA here. We are also going to go Yoda's Lightsaber. So they decided to change their game plan. They are trying to go for, okay, I think we have the game in the bag as long as we can survive. But that's, very, very risky at this point, with what they decided to do. They're attacking base. So they're kind of setting up this finish with potentially a one-shot from Zuckuss. Yoda's Lightsaber coming in. I wonder if I should have attacked before just playing Yoda's Lightsaber, because that would have reduced the damage by 3. So right now we're going to hit for 9. But we could hit for 6. And then next turn we hit for 6 plus K2. So probably wasn't necessary for Yoda's Lightsaber. I was just worried about like an open fire or a Forlom. But they probably would have just played Forlom if they had it. So I think I should have just... Oh, they have the McClunky. Okay. Sure. Yeah. We get to go in for some damage. So McClunky actually would have dealt with my unit as well. I mean, I'm going to get in damage here, and they kind of have to take initiative here. They don't really have a choice unless they have some other thing to play. Again, they could drop in like okay, they're going to claim initiative. We're going to go Metal Ceremony, put 2 experience tokens on here. We're going to go Tarkin Town on the Aurus thing. We're going to pass. We've got Rebel Assault. That was a fantastic draw. To be honest. I don't expect them to have pillage or anything. So, I mean, we have GG unless they have a surprise strike. I mean, they could have drawn a surprise strike, right? That's totally on board right now. I think if they had surprise strike, they just, win the game. They don't even think about it. They just surprise strike us. But we can't really play around that unless we killed the Zuckuss. And if we do, I feel like that limits our chances way more. And now we just go Rebel Assault in for GG. So we ended up getting there. Very, very tough start to battle up against for my opponent with Tarkin Town knocking out our turn 1 play, plus now there are 2 of them Zuckuss. I think if my opponent just went... they are obviously trying to avoid the Tarkin Town, because Tarkin Town does even the playing field for now there are 2 of them, but if you're going to race, I think you just commit. Because if they attacked base instead of my LEIA with Aura Sing, we would have had to attack their Zuckuss with our LEIA, and that would have been a significantly more interesting game, I think. especially with them having McClunky in hand. So I don't know, but good game. Good game. All right, we got from one deck that's going to be kind of running us down into another list that's going to be kind of tough to compete up against in Colossus Palp. That's going to be a lot of damage to chew through, although we have a fantastic hand to try to do just that. Benthic 2 Tubes, it is a Rebel, and you can attack when they get the trigger and then attack with a secondary unit. So this is probably the best hand I could have asked for. 2 Cassians, immediately the resource pile for this control matchup, into, you know, a 2-drop into 2-drop plus 1-drop on the next turn. Ideally, we draw another 2-drop, so I can go 2-drop, 2-drop, 1-drop into 2-drop, 2-drop. That's kind of the game plan. So A-Wing going to come down, and we'll see what my opponent decides to do afterwards. Maybe they just defeat the unit to get 1 damage into the A-Wing. I'd be kind of surprised if they decided to do that. Wow, they do. All right, I mean, I'm just going to claim initiative and get my 3 damage in. Blue leader, probably not all that relevant here. I think I do want to keep the for a cause. We're just going to get in for 3 here, get in our damage. Then we're going to go 2-drop, 1-drop. They probably have like a Merciless Contest or a Power of the Dark Side or something of that nature. If they don't, I'm feeling pretty good. They're going to resupply. Okay, so we're going to go A-Wing. We're going to go Benthic 2 Tubes, and that's a pretty good start. I mean, this is the type of start that we really want to see up against our opponent. Cham Syndulla, what a fantastic pickup here. Oh my gosh, it's going perfectly. Cham Syndulla into LEIA deploy. Ooh, 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 ooh. All right, let's go. Cham Syndulla coming down, baby. Boom. 5 resources. Let's go. Oh my goodness. I don't know why I'm so excited about that. I don't know. It's just, it makes me happy. It makes me happy to see my favorite leader in LEIA here doing some absolute banging work. All right, let's go with the LEIA action. I will attack with Benthic 2 Tubes, get in for 2, give raid to the A-Wing, attack in for 5. I think I'm going to kill off the Inferno 4. Well, no, that probably doesn't make much sense, because if I do that, they can just use the Palpatine action to finish off that unit. I think, what do I want to do here? I mean, I'm going to deploy LEIA for sure. I could kill off Super Laser and Inferno 4. You know what? I think I will kill off Inferno 4, because if they have to use the action, then they can't kill off Benthic 2 Tubes. And this guy is responsible for attacking for 4. So I'm actually totally okay with that game plan. Yoda's lightsaber is a great pickup. I can now deploy Cassian. I mean, there's so many options. They probably have like a vigilance or something. I don't really care. Because I'm liking our position right now. Now, it is getting a little bit tricky. This is the game plan, but this was a fantastic start to the game for sure. Absolutely loving it. They're going to defeat it. They're going to get the A-Wing. We'll see. Oh. Really? I mean, I'm going to attack with LEIA, attack with Benthic 2 Tubes, give the raid 2 to the 2 damaged up A-Wing. Okay, they have Eye of Sion. All right. That's a pretty good pickup, no doubt about it. I mean, I think I just go with Yoda's lightsaber on Cham Syndulla. I mean, Eye of Sion, not something I was necessarily expecting, but that's 8 damage in from Cham Syndulla. And then we go for a cause, and we've got a bunch of rebel units that probably don't matter. Honestly, I'm just going to discard all of these. I'm looking for a daring raid. I'm looking for another for a cause. Rebel assault looks pretty good. I think I'll resource a Benthic 2 Tubes. They could have Super Laser Blast, but a Palpatine doesn't really do it because we just attack with Cham Syndulla. Right? I mean, that was a fantastic game for us. We get to attack him with LEIA, and wow, that was just a ton of damage. I mean, that was incredible. Benthic 2 Tubes, like I said, was a great pickup there. Eye of Sion was not something I was expecting. You know, you never know what people are playing. I mean, Eighth Brother could be an option. Eye of Sion could be an option. Could have been, you know, our Quinton's Assault Cruiser, whatever it is that they decide to play. But wow, that was awesome. And that was just chef's kiss in terms of what we curved out. I could not have asked for a better first few turns. 2-drop into 2-drop, 1-drop into my opponent ramping, doing nothing to impact the board. Then we draw Cham Syndulla, immediately able to curve into LEIA and get that early damage in. Oh my gosh, was that perfect? That was absolutely perfect. Like, it was the best possible hand I think I could have dreamed of. Alrighty, we get to go into the next game into not my favorite hand, but not a terrible one either. I'm gonna mulligan this one though. I do like Metal Ceremony, but I'd rather have a 2-drop here. This is a lot better actually. I actually really I do like this one a lot more. Yep, I am happy with this one. Let's go with R2. R2 looks great on this board. Ooh. Yeah, we're gonna go Benthic 2 tubes. I mean, HK47 is something that we expect to see on my opposing side, on the opposing side of the battlefield. But yep, we'll just go ahead and claim initiative. There's Chewbacca. I'll just go ahead and resource that one. Hopefully, they just go with some ramp or something. They're gonna kill off our Benthic 2 tubes. They're not gonna kill off the Benthic 2 tubes. Interesting. Let's go ahead and attack in with Benthic 2 tubes and see what my opponent decides to do as a follow-up. I know this is risky because I could have Fleet Lieutenant, but I'm kind of thinking my opponent's going to resupply. They do have open fire. I'm really surprised they decided to play it like this, to be honest. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to Fleet Lieutenant. It's not the greatest Fleet Lieutenant. I was kind of hoping to kind of stall some actions there, but this ends up being okay. It ends up being okay. Yoda's lightsaber going to be the resource here. We'll see what my opponent decides to do. I would have thought my opponent would have tried to kill off my art. See, like, if they're going to do this, you may as well do it on turn 1, generally speaking. But, you know, they decided to go with this path. Super Laser Technician, sure. We're going to go with Tarkin Town on HK. They're going to claim initiative. We're going to play a Cham Syndulla, just kind of dry. Wing Leader for a cause. I mean, I think we're kind of stuck in we need to get some damage out on the board, or our power and toughness out on the board. I think we're losing pretty handedly. I don't really see... I mean, I could have attacked with both with the action from LEIA, of course. Gotten in an extra damage. They're going to open fire, huh? Yeah, I mean, another open fire is pretty good. I mean, we're going to pump up the Fleet Lieutenant significantly here. So they're going to, okay, do their thing. I mean, I suppose I will just deploy LEIA. I mean, do they have another open fire? Do they have a third open fire? No, they do not. All right, I'm just going to attack into base and get in for some damage. Oh, really weird game, to be honest. Double open fire HK Super Laser Technician. It's not what I'm really expecting from Boba Fett. So I'm just a little bit off put here. I'm gonna keep K2 on top. I will go with Metal Ceremony. I mean, do they have like Overwhelming Barrage here? Seems like 2 pretty good cards that we just picked up, and we have Cassian in the resource pile. What are they doing over there? They've got to have Overwhelming Barrage, right? Yep, here's Overwhelming Barrage. Sure, they can go 3 on Fleet Lieutenant, 1 on Wing Leader, 2 on LEIA or something, whatever they want to do. Yeah, I still think we're actually in a pretty good spot here. We're going to go Rebel Assaults, get in, put that on bottom, attack in with LEIA. They're going to kill off LEIA. Grenade Strike, huh? I mean, I'm going to go with K2. Grenade Strike? Why are they grenade striking? Why did they grenade strike? I don't know what's going on. I don't really know what's going on. All right, let's just keep both of our cards in hand, I guess. I mean, I'm just going to keep hitting base. Get in for 1, red 3, don't care about that. Get in for 4, K2 hit. I mean, now we're pretty much there, right? Really, really odd. Devastator can hit for a bunch of points of damage. We'll deal 3. And I mean, that's a Cassian. That's GG. GG. Really, really odd game there, to be honest. Really, really odd game. My opponent had a very controlling hand with double open fire and HK to start. And then they did have the Overwhelming Barrage like I thought. They had the ramp, but they weren't able to deploy Boba Fett into space because they had no space units. Usually, the strength of Boba is getting that Boba to deploy so you can kind of recoup on the board. And then you have this huge Overwhelming Barrage. even though the open fires were kind of obnoxious and the way it went down was a little bit weird to me, this actually was way easier to deal with than if they had just gone full space and dumped everything on a huge overwhelming barrage and then just pressured us, right? That would have been much scarier. Like if they had, you know, an early Kylo silencer or whatever into whatever they have, like Ruthless Raider, Boba deploy, that would have been much scarier. Much scarier. All right, another Talzin red here. I mean, hopefully we don't get another rage quit immediately. I'm going to mulligan this hand. I'm not a huge fan of it. This one's not amazing either, but I'm okay with it. I'm going to resource a Cassian and a General Dodonna. Not that I want to play my Cassian out as a unit here, but I absolutely will if I have to. Night Sister Warrior here. Okay. I mean, we have the Daring Raid. I mean, we do have the Wing Leader. I mean, Wing Leader is okay. I mean, I will go with Wing Leader and pump up the A-Wing. They can force throw me. I know it sucks, but this is kind of just what play I have. I could play the Cassian, but the Cassian's not really that exciting to me because they could have Talzin's Assassin. They could have Darth Tyrannus to knock out my Cassian plus a Talzin action. I mean, there's just a million different things that can make me very sad. So they got Power of the Dark Side plus Talzin action. It is what it is. They've got a great hand for us. Benthic 2 Tubes and Chewbacca. I mean, I don't think Chewbacca is really going to be that great in this matchup. I'm going to go with a K2SO. They could absolutely attack. They could play Darth Tyrannus. We're going to be sad. This matchup's not good for us, which is why I was super surprised to see our opponent 1 concede on turn 2. Like, I don't even think that was even that great of a start. But, yep, here comes Darth Tyrannus. Like I mentioned, he comes in for some extra damage. And this is pretty much GG, right? I mean, they had a fantastic hand to kind of deal with what we were going and doing in this game. But you know what? We're going to see what we can do. I mean, I'm going to deploy LEIA. They could have another Power of the Dark Side. They could have a million different things. They got Talzin's Assassin. So, I mean, that's pretty bad in of itself. I mean, I'm going to get in for 1. They can kill it off with Tyrannus. I mean, this is kind of what, you know, this is kind of what this deck does, is just put a bunch of damage units that are just going to control the board and absolutely wreck you. All right, they're going to attack in for 2 here. I'll hit for 3. They can shrink down my Cassian, shrink it down again, and then kill it with a Talzin. And that's just kind of the name of the game, right? Haven't been able to get any Tarkin Town usage because when played effects and shields, right? This is to be expected. Nothing here has been surprising whatsoever. That said, can we still win? It's very possible we can. I'm going to go with a blue leader here. No ambush. And then I'm going to try to go with Chewbacca. But, I mean, they have Force Lightning, Force Throw. It's just not going to really do anything. We're going to try to do it, but it's not going to do anything. Power of the Dark Side does nothing. My opponent must have forgot just for a quick second. I mean, that's about as good as it gets. All right, well, they got a fallen lightsaber. And this is what I mean. Is like, yes, we did that. Yes, they completely made a mistake here, but it doesn't really matter. Does not really matter. I mean, we have a pretty good situation for us so far in the game, but I mean, we're going to hit for 6. We're going to for a cause. We're going to daring raid. At best, we hit them at 24. That's kind of the way the game goes, right? For a cause, I mean, Fleet Lieutenant's great. It doesn't really matter. It's GG. GG. Alrighty, we got another value-oriented force deck again. Get a mulligan that first hand. Not all that exciting. I do kind of like this second hand. For a cause is nice. I think I'm going to keep it. Yeah, I just got to keep it. We're going to go Sabine Wren because it can kill off Secretive Sage on turn 1. They have an Adi Gallia. We're going to claim initiative here. I think I'm just going to ignore Adi Gallia. Another For a Cause and a Dodonna. I think I'm going to resource the For a Cause this time, and I will just go ahead and hit in for 3 into their base. They could have Force Throw. I mean, yeah, they could Force Throw us. They could hit something for a little bit of damage here. I guess I'll let them take out the For a Cause and knock out the Sabine. It is what it is. Force Throw is just a great card. Put R2 on the bottom. We're going to go with a Battlefield Marine. And then we're going to claim initiative. Yoda's lightsaber, Benthic 2 Tubes. I'm going to resource the Benthic 2 Tubes. I'm going to go for most value here, and I will play the General Dodonna here to pump up my units. Kiadi Mundi, draw a couple cards. We're going to go in with attack in for 4, attack in for 2, put Chewbacca on bottom. And this is going to set up next turn, because if they do want to do anything here, I mean, they can trade like Yaddle, Audigulia for General Dodonna, but we will be able to get in the attacks. And it looks like that's exactly what they're going to be doing. They're going to restore 2, which is not bad, but I mean, that's a good trade, right? It's a good trade for us. Totally okay with that. Okay, Wing Leader, Fleet Lieutenant. I do like Wing Leader, but it would get into range of Fell the Dragon, which is not all that great. So I'm going to resource it here. I know they could potentially, you know, force throw away this Yoda's lightsaber, but I think we just have to make the play. I think we just have to make the play. There's not a whole lot of wiggle room that we have at this point. I mean, I will go ahead and deploy LEIA, and we'll see what they have. Could have all sorts of different cards here to kind of mess with what we've got going on. Fortunately for us, they don't have the last force throw, so we will go with Yoda's lightsaber on LEIA. Fell the Dragon cannot do anything. Oh, wow, they have disabling Fang Fighter. All right, it is what it is. I mean, you know, sometimes it's obnoxious what your opponent has. Sometimes it's obnoxious. I'm going to keep both cards, again, just to play around force throw. But, I mean, I'm liking our position right now. I'm liking our position. I really hated to get rid of that 4 cause. The argument was there. I could have discarded the R2, and then they would have had to attack. And then we could have played the Battlefield Marine, but we wouldn't have been able to play 2 cards. I don't know. It would have been kind of risky. Gonna attack in with 2 units here. And then if I get an attack in with Battlefield Marine, it's pretty good for us. Yep, that's GG for a cost to finish out the game. And I mean, we just kind of ran through our opponent. So we did some good work there. I mean, the force throw is a good card, right? But I decided to discard the 4 cost because my thinking was, based on what Yodas are playing, we can get down this General Dodonna, get a lot of value out of it, and they're not going to have too many ways to deal with it unless they have another force throw. And the likelihood of them having another force throw is pretty low at this point in the game. And if they do have another force throw, it's probably just GG no matter what, because double force throw is just hard to deal with. But we might have been able to fight back with like a Cassian deploy, LEIA, whatever it is. But I mean, no Rey was found, which is good. That would have been a struggle. And then, of course, no second force throw. So nice. We got there. Into the next game, and probably the final game. I am liking our hand here. I think I'm going to resource a blue leader. And probably a Dodonna, even though it feels a little bit awkward. I do like getting down this A-Wing into another A-Wing. Anakin usually is not going to have all that many ways. I mean, they're going to have the same stuff that you're expecting in Han Blue, but it's going to be way harder for them to get to those stages of the game. So I am perfectly... Wow. I really like this hand, actually. I'm going to resource the A-Wing. I'm going to go Wing Leader because I'm expecting they could have Force Throw. Of course. Could absolutely have Force Throw. But they'd have to discard one of their own cards. And it's not a guarantee that they have Force Throw. So I think what I'll do is I'm going to go Wing Leader, even though Fleet Lieutenant could be an option. Because if I go Fleet Lieutenant, they can just kill it anyways, which kind of stinks. So I'm just going to go with this game plan. They have Jedi Starfighter. Force Throw us. I mean, I will discard the 4 cause, I guess. So they did have the Force Throw. I mean, that was a great pickup here. Jedi Starfighter is not something that I'm expecting people to really play, but they are playing it. So let's go with, what do I want to resource here? Is it the maybe it's the Yoda's lightsaber. Let's go ahead. I mean, they can deal 1 damage to a space unit here. Yeah. Get in for 5, get in for 2. It is what it is. We can't do a whole lot about it. They're going to use the action to knock out both units here, as expected. I'm going to go Fleet Lieutenant on a bear board. And I don't know if I will Tarkin Town. They're going to go Chirrut. I mean, Chirrut's great. That's going to be a huge roadblock for us. Blue Leader's pretty interesting. Yeah, I kind of do like Blue Leader here. Let's deploy LEIA and see what happens. Nice Sentinel. Jedi Starfighter is not really a common one that people are playing. And they have the Force Throw. So really nice kind of combo for exactly what we were deploying here. So something to really think about. Open Fire. I mean, Open Fire is great. Open Fire is great. We're going to go Blue Leader. Gonna give it to Experience because we will go ahead and ambush the Chirrut. They can go ahead and shrink it down, but we have Tarkin Town now, so they're probably just gonna. Oh, I mean, we're gonna Tarkin Town away that unit now. Some fun fact: this Jedi Starfighter can actually hit this blue leader with attacks because it's a space unit. I don't know if they know that. I don't know if they're thinking about that, but they should be. Because like right now, I would have immediately attacked with this Jedi Starfighter to get 1 damage on blue leader. I would not have attacked with Adi Gallia. Just something to kind of note. Metal Ceremony, probably not what I care about at this stage. Yoda's lightsaber and wing leader both look fantastic. Force lightning. That's an expensive force lightning. And now, I mean, we have For a Cause. So let's see. If we get, that's 9 damage. So 9 damage is 18. So we need For a Cause into Daring Raid or another For a Cause, because they're going to kill blue leader with their Adi Gallia. None of that works. None of that works. Wing leader does nothing. So we need For a Cause or Daring Raid. Come on. Yeah, we did it. Oh, right off the top. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. GG. Yeah. Beating some of the best decks in the format, guys, with a pretty stellar hand, to be honest. I mean, Jedi Starfighter was like the perfect card. Again, my opponent probably didn't realize that they could have hit the blue leader with the Jedi Starfighter, because if they did, that would have been the play. You know, instead of attacking with Adi Gallia, they just attack with the Jedi Starfighter. And then, if I remember correctly how that would sequence, but they decided to go with that game plan instead. And that led us to a pretty solid path in the game. Now, they still had the Force Lightning. So, honestly, it probably wouldn't have changed too much because they still would have had to Force Lightning immediately to deal with our LEIA. So, you know, is that really something that they could have done? Probably not. So maybe that didn't really matter all that much in terms of the blue leader. But certainly in the early game for Jedi Starfighter, with dealing with the wing leader and the A-wing in one fell swoop while leaving behind the Jedi Starfighter, was incredible. That was an incredible option for them. It just kind of dealt with everything that we had going on, which is something that I was hoping to kind of avoid in the space arena, especially with all the Chirruts running around and such. So not too bad at all. I'm pretty happy with our results today. All right, my friends, LEIA Red did work today. I think there was definitely some mistakes that we made and some mistakes our opponent made, of course. But in general, I mean, the deck still has that killer edge. Rebel Assault still very strong. For a Cause is still very good. I mean, honestly, I don't think I'll ever forget the high against that Palp Blue player where you were able to go 2-drop, 2-drop, 1-drop, Cham Syndulla, deploy LEIA. Was that amazing? The only way it could have been better is if we had a wing leader or a Metal Ceremony. Oh my gosh. That would have just been... oof. That would have been so good. Anyways, before I get way too excited over LEIA Red, guys, this is nostalgia incarnate. For those of you who have not watched the channel for a very long time, the very first video I made for this was a deck tech on the original LEIA Red Tarkin Town back in set 1. And it was a deck that definitely could compete up against Sabine. One of the nice things about LEIA is that you have the action cheating, being able to attack with multiple rebel units, which is honestly one of the things I think a lot of decks would need if you want these like go wide travel decks to work. Or you have the thing with Vader Yellow where you get big amounts of units, disrupt their board, and then you have this like one big clone combat squadron to take advantage of the go wide space units. But being able to attack with multiple units in a single action is what makes the go wide potential possible. So having a couple 1-drops in the deck was really important to be able to try to utilize that action a little bit more than otherwise. So overall, absolute blast. Had some amazing fun. I have not played LEIA Red in set 4, and playing with Cham Syndulla and, well, I guess Chewbacca to a lesser extent, so we didn't actually play it, but the new A-Wing, which is not so new anymore. Cham Syndulla was both very fun. Blue Leader as well. It's just fun to come back and play with some of the old cards. And even General Dodonna came in there and potentially gave us a win for sure. For sure. Guys, hopefully you enjoyed. Thank you for taking this journey with me back to an old classic in LEIA Red, and I hope you all have a great day. See you for the next one.